Hi friends, today we are discussing about the essay of studies that was written by Francis Bacon. Francis Bacon. He was the father of English essays. He was known as the father of English essays. And he was the writer of Elizabethan age. He was at the age of Elizabethan, that is in 17th century, and a contemporary of Shakespeare. He was a contemporary of Shakespeare. He was the father of English essays. Then he was the writer of Elizabethan age and a contemporary of Shakespeare. He also known as the father of empiricism. He was known as the father of empiricism. What is empiricism? That was knowledge is based on experiences. Knowledge that is based on experiences. Francis Bacon. He was the father of English essays and the father of empiricism. What is empiricism? Knowledge that is based on experiences. Knowledge that is based on experiences. He was the writer of Elizabethan age and a contemporary of Shakespeare. He works at the same time English and Latin. Two languages he uses, English and Latin. His major works are the first one, that is essays, that is in the year of 1597. Then the advancement of learning, New Atlantis, Novum Organum. New Atlantis, that is an unfinished one. Then Novum Organum, that was the best one. Essays, the advancement of learning, New Atlantis, Novum Organum. These are his major works. Then adopted the term essay from Montaigne. Here Francis Bacon, he was adopted the term essay, that is from Montaigne. Next, the three editions of essays. The first one 1597, that is the first edition. At the time, how many essays? 10 essays. In the year of 1597, 10 essays are there. In 1612, that is second edition, how many essays? 38 essays. First edition 1597, 10 essays. 1612, 38 essays. And the third edition, that is 1625, the total number of essays are 58. Total number of essays are 58. The first edition, that is in 1597, 10 essays. Second edition 1612, 38 essays. And the third edition, that is 1625, 58 essays. You got the idea? Okay. He wrote 58 essays and one of his notable work is Novum Organum. He wrote total 58 essays and one of his notable work is Novum Organum. That's one of the important question, Novum Organum. And he wrote 58 essays. Essays have an abrupt beginning and abrupt ending. That is one of the specialty of his essays, that have an abrupt beginning and abrupt ending. The next one is essays were enriched with Latin vocabulary. His essays that were enriched with Latin vocabulary. കൂടുതലായിട്ട് ഉപയോഗിച്ചിരുന്നത് Latin words ആണ്. Then the essay of studies, that is classified under essays on thought, art and leisure. Of studies, that is classified under essays on thought, art and leisure. It was published in 1625. Please note this one, that is 1625. Then in this essay, he highlights the importance of studies in one's life. In this essay of studies, he highlights the importance of studies in one's life. നമ്മുടെ ഒരാളുടെ ജീവിതത്തിൽ സ്റ്റഡീസിന് എത്രത്തോളം ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻസ് ഉണ്ടെന്നാണ് ഈ എസ്സേയിലൂടെ പറയുന്നത്. He starts essay by saying three important benefits of studies. Here he says three important benefits of studies. It's very important. What is that? The important of three important benefits of studies. Which are they? For gaining delight, for ornamentation, for improving ability. Which are they? For gaining delight, for ornamentation, for improving ability. ഈ മൂന്നെണ്ണം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഫോർ ഗെയിനിങ് ഡിലൈറ്റ്. ഡിലൈറ്റ് നമുക്കറിയാം, നമുക്ക് എന്താണ് ഒരു എൻജോയ്മെൻറ്റ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നമുക്കൊരു സന്തോഷം കിട്ടാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ്. ഫോർ ഓർണമെൻറ്റേഷൻ, നമ്മൾ എന്തിനാണ് ഓർണമെൻറ്റ്സ് ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നത്? നമുക്ക് കൂടുതൽ ഒരു ഭംഗി കിട്ടാൻ എന്നൊക്കെയാണ് നമ്മൾ വിചാരിക്കുന്നത് അല്ലേ. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഇവിടെ ഓർണമെൻറ്റേഷൻ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത് നമ്മുടെ ആ ഒരു കമ്മ്യൂണിക്കേറ്റിംഗ് പവർ, സ്പീക്കിംഗ് പവർ, അതൊക്കെ ഒന്ന് ഇമ്പ്രൂവ് ചെയ്യുന്നതിനെ കുറിച്ചിട്ടാണ്. ദെൻ ഫോർ ഇംപ്രൂവിങ് എബിലിറ്റി, നമ്മുടെ കഴിവുകളെ നമുക്ക് ഇംപ്രൂവ് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടി. ഇതൊക്കെയാണ് സ്റ്റഡീസിൻ്റെ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള മൂന്ന് ബെനിഫിറ്റ്സ്. വിച്ച് ആർ ദേ? ഫോർ ഗെയിനിങ് ഡിലൈറ്റ്, ഫോർ ഓർണമെൻറ്റേഷൻ, ഫോർ ഇംപ്രൂവിങ് എബിലിറ്റി. So here we start with the essay of studies. Studies serve for delight, for ornament and for ability. Studies serve for delight, for ornament and for ability. We have also said the three benefits of studies, that are serve for delight, for ornament and for ability. The chief use for delight is in privateness and retiring, for ornament is in discourse, and for ability is in the judgment and disposition of business. So here Bacon explains that there are three uses of study. We get three types of benefits from studies. First, it gives us delight. That is in our leisure time and in privacy. We can spend our time with reading, that is reading books, novels, etc., which gives us both enjoyment and education. So the first one, that's for delight. The reading books that gives us enjoyment and education. That's the first one. And the second one, that is for ornament. And here reading help us to speak and communicate others with more efficiently. That is to communicate and speak with others more efficiently. That is ornament. And the last one, that is ability. The studies that is help us to deal with our problems of life more effectively. We all have many problems in our life, and here studies or the reading books that will help us to deal the problems in our life very effectively. These are the three benefits of studies. Which are they? For delight, for ornament and for ability. For expert men can execute and perhaps judge of particulars one by one, but the general counsels and the plots and marshalling of affairs come best from those that are learned. That is, we can make good judgment of matters and issues. Studies help professional experts to deal successfully. നമ്മുടെ ഓരോരുത്തരുടെയും ജീവിതത്തിൽ സ്റ്റഡീസ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ റീഡിംഗ് ബുക്സ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് പല തരത്തിലായിരിക്കും ഇൻഫ്ലുവൻസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ അതിവിടെ ഒന്ന് എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്യാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. To spend too much time in studies is sloth. Sloth means lazy. To use them too much for ornament is affection. To make judgment only by their roles is the humor of a scholar. So here, study has some disadvantages also. Spending too much time reading books will make a man lazy. Sloth means lazy. So reading too much time that make a man lazy. Then the perfect nature and are perfect by experience. For natural abilities are like natural plants that need pruning by study. And studies themselves do give four directions too much at large, except they be bounded in by experience. So here, another disadvantage is that those who study too much may make a show of their learning. നമ്മൾ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട് ഒത്തിരി അറിവ് കൂടുതലുള്ള ആൾക്കാർ ആ അറിവ് എവിടെയെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ ഒന്ന് ഉപയോഗിക്കാനും ശ്രമിക്കൂലേ. അത് തന്നെയാണ് ഇവിടെ സംഭവിക്കുന്നത്. എന്താണ്? ദ അഫക്റ്റേഷൻ ഷുഡ് ബി അവോയ്ഡഡ്. നമ്മൾ ആവശ്യമുള്ളിടത്തും ഇല്ലാത്തടത്തും ഒക്കെ നമ്മൾ പഠിച്ച കാര്യങ്ങളൊന്ന് പെരുമാറാൻ ശ്രമിക്കും. അപ്പം അതെന്ത് ചെയ്യും? ഗുണത്തെക്കാളേറെ ദോഷവും ചെയ്യും. So here again our too much study of books may develop in us a tendency to separate studies from their practical application in day-to-day life. The scholars, they should avoid this type of bad tendencies. This bookish knowledge should be guided by experience of life. അതായത് നമ്മൾ ബുക്കിൽ നിന്നും കിട്ടുന്ന ആ നോളജ് നമ്മുടെ പ്രാക്ടിക്കൽ ലൈഫിൽ നമുക്ക് എപ്പോഴും ഉപയോഗിക്കാൻ കഴിയുമോ? ഇല്ല. അതിന് നമ്മൾ എന്തും കൂടി വേണം? ലൈഫ് എക്സ്പീരിയൻസും കൂടി വേണം. ദെൻ പ്രാക്ടിക്കൽ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ഹെൽപ്പ് അസ് ടു അപ്ലൈ ദം ടു റിയൽ ലൈഫ് സിറ്റുവേഷൻസ്. ദർ ആർ കണ്ണിങ്. ദെൻ crafty men condemn studies, simple men admire them, and wise men use them. For they teach not their own use, but that is a wisdom without them, and above them won by observation. So here, the crafty men, crafty people who think that they need not want practical experiences of life. അവർ വിചാരിക്കുന്നത് എന്താ? പ്രാക്ടിക്കൽ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസസ് ഓഫ്, അതായത് പ്രാക്ടിക്കൽ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് വേണ്ട എന്നാണ്. ദെൻ the simple men admire book learning. Then wise men use and they apply them to their life situations. Read not to contradict and confute, not to believe and take for granted, not to find talk and discourse, but to weigh and consider. So here he prescribes some rules of study. Studies have some rules. So here he prescribes. We should not read just to contradict or argue with others. Contradict എന്ന് വെച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ എന്താണ്? വിരുദ്ധപരമായ, വൈരുദ്ധ്യമായ എന്നൊക്കെയുള്ളതാണ്. Contradict or argue with others. Then we should not blindly believe whatever we study in books. നമ്മൾ ബുക്കിലുള്ളതെല്ലാം നമുക്ക് കണ്ണുമടച്ച് വിശ്വസിക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല അല്ലേ. പലതും പറഞ്ഞതുപോലെ നമ്മുടെ ലൈഫ് സിറ്റുവേഷനിൽ നമ്മൾ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളും കൂടി കടന്നു വരും. അപ്പോൾ അതൊരിക്കലും നമ്മൾ ഈ പഠിച്ച കാര്യങ്ങളെ മറ്റുള്ളവരുമായിട്ടൊരു വാഗ്വാദത്തിന് വേണ്ടി നിൽക്കരുത്. ദെൻ സം ബുക്സ് ആർ ടു ബി ടേസ്റ്റഡ്, others to be swallowed, and some few to be chewed and digest. That is, some books are to be read only in parts, others to be read but not curiously, and some few to be read only and with diligence and attention. Some books also may be read by deputy and extracts made of them by others, but that would be only in the less important arguments and meaner sort of books, else distilled books are like common distilled waters, flashy things. So here we should keep an open mind, that is in the time of reading. Bacon wants lovers of books to use their critical judgment and to evaluate impartially opinions of the others. According to Bacon, all books are not to be read in the same manner. There are different types of books then, and Bacon tells how we may approach each type of book. Some books to be read in parts. So we may skip through the pages. Some books are to be read completely, but these books need not be studied well. നമ്മൾ പലതരം ബുക്സ് കാണുന്നുണ്ട് അല്ലേ. നമ്മളിതേപോലെ എൻജോയ്മെൻറ്റിന് വേണ്ടി വായിക്കുന്ന ചില നോവലുകളുണ്ടാവും, അങ്ങനത്തെ പല ബുക്സ്. ചിലത് നമ്മൾ സ്കിപ്പ് ചെയ്ത് വായിക്കേണ്ടതുണ്ടാകും. പിന്നെ നമ്മൾ പഠിക്കാനുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ആണെങ്കിൽ മൊത്തം വായിക്കേണ്ടതുണ്ടാവും. അങ്ങനെ പലതരം ബുക്സ്. അപ്പോൾ അതിനെക്കുറിച്ചെല്ലാമാണ് ഇവിടെ പറയുന്നത്. We can read them for our curiosity. But some other books are to be studied carefully and digest because the form and content are very important and useful for us in our practical life. Some other books that is read by deputies because the matter is very little. Reading make a full man, conference a ready man, and writing an exact man. This is a very important sentence. Reading make a full man, conference a ready man, and writing an exact man. And therefore, if a man write little, he had need have a great memory. A man write little, he had need a great memory. If he confer little, he had need have a present wit. If the man confer little, he had need a present wit. And if he read little, he had need how much cunning. If the person read little, he had need much cunning. To seem to know that he doth not. Histories make men wise. So here he says that some subjects, it's related to reading. Histories make men wise. Poets witty. Poets have getting an imaginative power. Then the mathematics subtle, natural philosophy deep, moral grave, logic and rhetoric able to content. Reading make a person up to date. Every subject has its own value for the reader. History helps us to enhance our wisdom. Poetry makes us imaginative, and maths helps us to acquire subtlety. Natural philosophy makes us deep. Then moral philosophy gives us gravity. Logic and rhetoric promote the power of debate and argument. The next sentence, abunt studia in mos, which means studies pass into and influence manners. The next one, that is, nay, there is no stone or impediment in the wit, but may be wrought out by fit studies. Like us, diseases of the body may have appropriate exercises. Bowling is good for the stone and reins, shooting for the lungs and breast, gentle walking for the stomach, riding for the head, and the like. So if a man's wit be wandering, let him study the mathematics. For in demonstrations, if his wit be called away never so little, he must begin again. If his wit be not apt to distinguish or find differences, let him study the schoolmen, for they are seminisectors. if he be not apt to beat over matters and to call up one thing, to prove and illustrate another, let him study the lawyer's cases. So every defect of the mind may have a special receipt. So here Bacon says studies can cure diseases of mind, like physical exercise cure defects of the body. So here the examples are: bowling is good for kidneys, shooting for the lungs, and walking for digestion. Then scholastic philosophy is good for model thinking. Then the study of law is an effective medicine for bad memory. So this is the small summary of this essay, and നമ്മളിവിടെ ഒരു സമ്മറി കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്, അപ്പോൾ അതും കൂടി ഒന്ന് എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്യാം. Francis Bacon is one of the greatest writers of English prose. He was one of the greatest writer of English prose. His earliest work of importance was the essays. The language is simple, brief, and clear. As Bacon says, his essays are to be chewed and digested. Bacon says his essays are to be chewed and digested. Bacon explains that there are three uses of study. There is said three uses of study. We get three types of benefits from studies. First one, it gives us delight. The first one, that is, it gives us delight. In our leisure time and in privacy, we can spend our time reading books, which gives us both enjoyment and education. The first one, that is, it gives us delight, and in our free time, we are reading books. It gives us both enjoyment and education. Second one, reading helps us to speak and communicate with people more efficiently. Second one, that is for ornamentation. That is, reading helps us to speak and communicate with people more efficiently. And the third one, that is for ability. So here, studies helps us to deal with our problems of life more effectively. That is, we all have problems in our life, and the studies that helps us to deal our problems of life more effectively. We can make good judgment of matters and issues. We can make good judgment of matters and issues. Studies help professional experts to deal successfully. Studies helps the professional experts to deal successfully. Study has some disadvantages. That is, spending too much time reading books will make a man lazy. If we read more time, that will make us lazy. Another disadvantage is that those who study too much may make a show of their learning. The next disadvantage, that is, those who study too much, that will make a show of their learning. This affectation should be avoided. Again, a too much study of books may develop in us a tendency to separate studies from their practical application in day-to-day life. The scholar should avoid such bad tendencies. The scholars, they are avoiding such bad tendencies. This bookish knowledge should be guided by experience of life. The bookish knowledge that will guide the experiences of life. Practical experiences helps us to apply them to real life situations. Practical experiences helps us to apply them to real life situations. There are cunning and crafty people who think that they need not want practical experiences of life. And the simple people admire the book learning. But the wise man use studies and apply them to life situations. Wise men, they have used studies and apply them to life situations. Bacon prescribes some rules of study. We should not read just to contradict or argue with others. We should not blindly believe whatever we study in the books. We should keep an open mind. Bacon wants lovers of books to use their critical judgment and to evaluate impartially opinions of the authors. According to Bacon, all books are not to be read in the same manner. എല്ലാ ബുക്കുകളും നമ്മൾ ഒരേ മാനറിലല്ല വായിക്കേണ്ടത്. There are different types of books and Bacon tells us how we may approach each type of book. നമ്മൾ ഓരോ ബുക്കിനെയും എങ്ങനെ സമീപിക്കണമെന്നാണ് ഇവിടെ പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നത്. There are some books to be read in parts, so we may skip through the pages. Some books are to be read completely, but these books need not be studied well. We can read them for our curiosity, but some other books are to be studied carefully and digested because the form and content are very important and useful for us in our practical life. Again, some other books are to be read by deputies because the matter is very little. Now Bacon tells us how studies cure the diseases of our mind. Reading makes a person up to date. Reading, that is, helps us to up to date. Every subject has its own value for the reader. History helps us to enhance our wisdom. Poetry makes us imaginative. Mathematics helps to acquire subtlety. Natural philosophy makes us deep. On the other hand, moral philosophy gives us gravity. Logic and rhetoric promote the power of debate and argument. Thus, studies reform our character and make us more civilized. Studies can cure diseases of mind just as physical exercise cure defects of the body. നമ്മുടെ ശരീരത്തിൻ്റെ അസുഖങ്ങൾ ഫിസിക്കൽ എക്സസൈസ് മാറ്റുന്നത് പോലെ നമ്മുടെ മനസ്സിൻ്റെ അസ്വസ്ഥതകൾ ആര് മാറ്റിത്തരും? സ്റ്റഡീസ് ഓർ റീഡിങ്. ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ, ബൗളിംഗ് ഈസ് ഗുഡ് ഫോർ കിഡ്നീസ്, ഷൂട്ടിംഗ് ഫോർ ദ ലങ്സ് ആൻഡ് വാക്കിംഗ് ഫോർ ഡൈജഷൻ. സിമിലർലി, മാത്തമാറ്റിക്സ് ഈസ് എ സ്ട്രോങ് ക്യൂർ ഫോർ മൈൻഡ് വാണ്ടറിംഗ്. Scholastic philosophy is good for muddled thinking. The study of law is an effective medicine for bad memory. So this is the summary of the essay of studies. Thank you.